It's Fox and Friends.
That it is. Good morning to you.
And that's a little goodie bag over there, part of the sweepstakes that you can win for having breakfast with Fox and Friends. You can go to the website.
And feel free to lay in that generic disco music, which was actually not bad. Meanwhile, folks, okay, mounting pressure on Hillary Clinton to get out of the race. That's coming from some of Barack Obama's supporters. Should she? Is she going to get out of the race? And by the way, what's John McCain up to in all of this? Well, let's talk politics now with Christine O'Donnell. She's a Republican strategist. And the Democratic strategist right here in the studio, Regina Calcaterra. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having me.
Regina, let's start with you. Okay. Hillary Clinton, is the pressure real for her to get out of the race? Or, because right now it just seems to be coming from Barack Obama supporters.
It is.
But when is that going to change? Is it?
Well, that's not. That will continue until she ultimately does get out of the race, which will probably be around July and August, because we know mathematically it's improbable. But I think she should stay in the race. From a political science perspective, we only have 10 more states to vote, and those states have 70 million people. Let them finish voting. We're only going to go to June 7th, so she should continue and play it out until the very end and see how many delegates and let it just end naturally, as opposed to getting out of the race now and not allowing these 10 states to vote.
Now, Regina, we've been hearing all along that the Democratic infighting is actually helping McCain, but you're saying it's not, it's hurting McCain, right?
Christine.
Yeah. Oh, Christine, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, my concern about this is when people think of the presidential election, they hear, who are you going to vote for? Hillary Obama, Hillary Obama. Last week at Easter, my aunt actually said, isn't there a third guy, Jim McCann? And that's when I realized, uh-oh, he's got to get his name out there. There's something to be said for branding. And even though this is hurting each other, the branding of their names associated with the presidential election is going to help whoever the Democratic winner is. But regarding Hillary backing out, as long as she is in the race, Obama is getting a free pass. He is so liberal, he makes Hillary look like Russia's best friend, and he'll never stand up to the scrutiny of the general election.
Russia, okay.
Right.
We'll get Gina on this. Russia's best friend, I'm not sure.
That's how liberal he is.
Hold on, Christine, hold on.
Yeah.
The Hillary Clinton forces do believe that Obama is getting a free pass, and that continues.
Well, he's not getting a free pass at all. I mean, he was pounded away on this whole Reverend Wright issue, and we thought that it would have been let go a few weeks ago, and it hasn't been let go.
That's not true.
And no, that is true. It keeps coming up. Just watch the media. People are following that Reverend Wright spoke yesterday at his church. That was covered in the media, that he's pulling out a variety of different speaking engagements, that he has an issue with housing in his church. I mean, there are issues that keep coming up that keep affiliating Reverend Wright with Obama. So I don't think that he's getting a free pass.
Let me ask you this. Obama is not getting up, having a press conference, addressing all this criticism personally. He's getting away with picking and choosing what he gets to talk about. That whole GD America comment, it was deflected with the issue of racism. And there is nothing... GD America is not racist. It's blatantly anti-American. Now, both Hillary and McCain, when they faced scrutiny, they had press conferences, and they allowed the press to ask them whatever they wanted. Obama's not doing that, and that's not fair. He should put himself out there. He should address these questions, but he is so liberal, he isolates most Americans, and he'll never be able to withstand the scrutiny of a general election.
Okay, two things. One, he's actually came out and said that he would have quit the church. That if Reverend Wright had said that he would have quit the church.
He says that in
Christine,
statements.
let me finish speaking. And the next thing is that he has continued to to get criticism. And trust me, when the race comes down to Obama and McCain, which likely it will, McCain's people are going to continue playing that Reverend Wright situation over and over. And the GD America thing was not negative, was not anti-patriotic. It was in the sense of how racism is and how African Americans are challenged here, and they were frustrated with how they're treated in America.
Hey, Christine, and do me a favor. Hold that outrage for one moment. We'll
This is getting good. It's getting juicy. Well, we want you to stay after the break, if you will. All right. Well, Obama is hanging out at bars this weekend. Does that make you like him more? Well, ahead of the big primary in Pennsylvania, will Obama's appeal to young voters sink her campaign?
With your help. Thank you, sir. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Okay, we are back with the GOP strategist Christine O'Donnell and Democratic strategist Regina Calcaterra. Christine, you had something to say.
Right. Obama is so blinded by partisanship that he's not rational, and people will see that in the general election. Let me give you an example. He voted against funding our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. You don't send your child out barefoot to play in the snow. So we get it, he's against the war, but the very least we should do is equip our troops while they're over there. And this is the kind of stuff that Americans will recognize as not presidential. So right now, as he's enjoying this free pass, it's not just Reverend Wright, it's actually his policies that will repel most Americans.
Well, actually, that's not true. If you realize, last week we marked 4,000 dead in Iraq. In the last election, voters came out and pushed out everyone who changed over Congress and sent a message to both parties who play partisan politics. It shouldn't be shocking to you that they want to pull troops out of Iraq. And you have John McCain this week coming out, I'm going to stay the course. It doesn't matter that things are imploding in Basra and in Baghdad, that he's going to stay the course. Listen, so I don't think Obama voting not to support, not to fund money going over there is going to be held against
Regina,
him.
you bring up the war and you talk about these numbers. You look at John McCain, and certainly if you see the recent polls from this week, we see that in a head-to-head matchup against Hillary Clinton and a head-to-head matchup against Barack Obama, he comes out on top, knowing all we know about Iraq, knowing what we currently know about the violence that has escalated there in the recent weeks. How is he still on top?
No, he's not. He's less than a percentage point ahead of Hillary. Barack Obama is 1.2, is a little bit more than 1% percentage points ahead of him. So he's not on top with both of them, just with Hillary, but there's only a 1-point spread, and that's a problem actually for McCain. He hasn't been attacked. This has been a free ride for him for about 6 weeks, and he's only 1 percentage points difference, and he only has 11 million in the bank compared to the 30 million that Hillary has and 50 million that Barack Obama has. That actually doesn't bode well for him at all.
Yeah, Christina, please.
Regarding the issue of McCain's steadfastness in Iraq, can I remind you that people like Senator Kennedy criticized Ronald Reagan for his steadfast refusal to compromise with the Russians in the Cold War.
Christine?
And it is that, let me finish, it was that strength that brought us a victory in the Cold War, and then Senator Kennedy stood from the very same podium praising him. So I truly believe
Christine,
that one
he's not
day the people
steadfast.
who...
You need to look at the New York Times, April 17th last year.
It doesn't matter what
and when
public
he was
opinion
trying
says.
to get
Are
the moderate
we winning in
independent
Iraq?
votes,
Are we setting
what
up
he
a
said
democracy
was he's going to follow the will of the people, and now he needs the conservative votes, and now he says he wants to stay the course. That's not being steadfast, flipping Iraq
that
1 year later.
He is being steadfast. He recognizes that we are setting up a stable democracy in Iraq. We learned from Afghanistan, we learned from the Cold War that a victory over tyranny is not enough. We have to make sure that we fill the vacuum with democracy so that terrorists don't come in and fill that, and that's what we're doing in Iraq.
Christine O'Donnell and Regina Calcaterra, thank you so much for the discussion.
You have got to come on again. I love this. This is getting juicy. Thanks, ladies.